free play, there are three main categories: chimps, easy powerless, and easy powered. This should be self-explanatory, but easy powered is one where you can get the furthest. But how far can you really get? When I first thought of easy powered compared to powerless, my first thought was just to take a powerless DPS setup, slap some energizing totems down, use some monkey boosts and time stops, and just go with it. So that's what I did with my setup. I ended up stopping my run at round 688, just because it was taking way too long. I was originally planning this video to come out around when Brazio uploads his video on theoretical setups too, but he's being slow, and coming from me, that's impressive. I've had to scrap a bunch of maths.
Hello darkness, my old friend.
But I've sent it to him, so you'll see it then. Anyways, back to the video. If we ignore DPS, what else is there? If you saw Vaxor's video, where he got the powered world record before he deleted all his videos in his channel, you would see the power of the Legend of the Night. His ninjas were doing fuck all after he sold VTSG for Legend. The main carry work was from the Legend, and Azili's mob Hex. So what do? Firstly, Legend of the Night summons a black hole that lasts for 8 seconds and can eat anything. Yes, anything. The only real threat in late game is bads and fortified bads, and the Legend can eat them up just fine. For this maths, we're going to assume that we've already gotten to round 10,000. At round 10,000, every round has 200 fortified bads. One group that's dense, 0 spacing, with 100, and the other group with the other 100, but with a 9 frame spacing. Getting up to round 10,000 should be easy with Legend and Azili with time stops. So the Legend portal lasts 8 seconds, and if we do the maths, the 9 spacing groups take 900 frames, or 15 seconds to send out. So how do we catch all this? If we use time stops when the balloons are spawning, it slows the speed of the F-Bad down to 1/3 of their normal speed. This clumps them up, so when the time stop wears off, the F-Bads all return to their normal speed. This converts a time of 15 seconds to spawn down to 5 seconds to leak. I don't know about you, but 5 seconds is a shorter amount of time than 8 seconds. So what does this mean? Can we just infinitely go with this? No. The main idea of clumping is that when the time stop wears off, the F-Bads are clumped up. If the F-Bads reach the exit and the portal while the time stop is active, they will exit at the same speed as they spawned, 15 seconds. So how long can this be pushed? Well, we need to know how long it takes for an F-Bad to reach the end of logs, then multiply it by 3 for the time stops. Logs is 66.4 red balloon seconds long. A bad moves at 0.18 times the speed of a red balloon. So logs is 66.4 divided by bad speed. The formula to get a bad speed compared to a round 1 red balloon from a round above 252 is as follows. At round X, it will go at 1.08 plus brackets 0.18 times 0.02, close brackets, open brackets, x minus 252, close brackets. Now we can substitute this into the logs length equation. So the length of logs for a bad to go through is 66.4 divided by brackets 0.0036x plus 0.1728. If we multiply this by 3 for the time stops, then we have a full equation. We did it! Now we can solve this for... Wait, what do we solve this for? 8 seconds? No. Assuming the time stop wears off perfectly, the bads will leak in 5 seconds. How many seconds can it take for a bad to get through? Let's do the maths. We need 8 seconds total. There's 15 seconds to spawn out all the bads. There's 100 bads. If we take n to be the amount of bads that get through, then the equation is 0.15n plus 0.05 times 100 minus n equals 8. Simplifying that, 0.15n plus 5 minus 0.05n equals 8. Or 0.1n equals 3. If we solve for n equals 30. So 30 bads can go through during the time stop, and the legend can still catch all the others. This means that 4.5 seconds of bads can go through before all the bads spawn, meaning that the bads have to take 15 minus 4.5 seconds, or 10.5 seconds, to go through the map. Let's just plug that into the equation, and fuck. Legend of the Night plus time stops only gets us to around 5,221.84. I did the maths on old time stops that slowed the bads to 10% speed. And with that, you could leak 48 F-bads and would die when the F-bads take 7.22 seconds to leak, getting to about around 2,550. Holy glowdown. But Ninja Kiwi nerfed it. Well, that's awkward. Maybe Azili can help us? Her mob hex does 5% for Blimp's health every second. That's unfortunate. Okay, ignore what I just said then. So, what can help us get further? We need fewer bads in the clumped group. This is assuming that any setup that can beat rounds past 10,000 will beat up to 10,000. What else has an ability that can kill bads no matter the health? Brackets, this is foreshadowing. Quick disclaimer from here, Ninja Kiwi fixed a bug that actually makes this possible, so technically this only works in V50 and below. Yeah. The Navarch of the Seas, the boat Paragon. Its ability can hook in any balloon. This seems perfect. An ability with a relatively fast cooldown. One problem. It can only hook in 2 bads per round. Let's still do the maths on this though. Minus 2 bads in the space group. We already had the maths that we can use with this. 0.15n plus 0.05 times 100 minus n equals 8. We need to modify it, as there isn't 100 total anymore. There's 98. So 0.15n plus 0.05 times 98 minus n equals 8. Simplifying, 0.15n minus 0.05n plus 4.9 equals 8. 0.1n equals 3.1, or n equals 31. 31 out of the 98 F-bads can be leaked by the black hole. This saves us more time than it seems, because now the time to spawn out all the bads, excluding the hooked ones, is 14.7 seconds. Okay, this is a lot of manual maths. Let's make another equation. We're going to make a small variable, big N, equals 100 minus h. H is the amount of bads that are hooked in, and big N is the amount of bads leaked during time stop. If we do the maths for 0.15n plus brackets 0.05 times n big N minus n, close brackets, equals 8. Simplifying, 0.1n equals 8 minus 0.05 big N. N equals 80 minus 0.5 big N. If we substitute out big N, small n equals 80 minus 0.5 times 100 minus h. Little n equals 80 minus 50 plus 0.5h. Little n equals 30 plus 0.5h. the amount of bads we can leak from this is 30 plus 0.5 H. So now if we continue, we need to find the amount of time bads can take to leak, with, again, H being the amount of bads hooked. That is 0.15 times 100 minus H, minus 0.15 times the amount of bads leaked during time stop of H. So basically what we just figured out then. Simplifying, 15 minus 0.15 H minus 0.15 times 30 plus 0.5 H. Simplifying again, the time bads can take to leak of H is 10.5 minus 0.225 H. Now for the juicy part, the round we can get up to as a function of the length and the amount of bads hooked in. I'm going to define a couple more functions first, just to make it easier. T of H is the amount of time bads can take to get through the map, which we just figured out. F of X is the length of the map for a bad to get through, depending on the round. So, the round of length and H is equal to 3L divided by F of X equals T of H. We move stuff around, 3L equals T of H times F of X. Move it around, F of X equals 3L divided by T of H. Substitute the actual values of the functions, 0.0036x plus 0.1728 equals 3L divided by 10.5 minus 0.225H. Moving more stuff around, we move the 0.1728 to the other side, then we divide both sides by 0.0036x, which gives us a final function of round of length and amount bads hooked in equals 3L divided by brackets 10.5 minus 0.225H times 0.0036, close brackets, minus 48. Now to verify this function, if we plug it in logs with no fbads hooked in, we get 199.2 divided by 10.05 times 0.0036, or minus 48, which equals, you guessed it, the same as we got before, 5,221.84. Perfect! I made a mod, with the help of the goat Isendus, to make time stops activate instantly so I can test it. But more on the practical results later. If we chuck this into Desmos to find how many hooks we need to get to around 10,000. 23! Cool! So now the question is, how do you actually get that many boat hooks? Normally you're limited to 2 per round, and there's a cooldown, meaning effectively 1 per round. Well, if you buy a boat Paragon at a high enough degree, the cooldown is off instantly. Boat micro time! Yippee! But there's an animation time. Turns out that if you press the ability button while it's in the animation, you can use it anyway. However, how do you sell it during the animation though? The sell button doesn't work, we can't click it to sell it. However, there's something else we can do. We can take a leaf out of the Book of Humans and just destroy its natural habitat. If we get the Botagon in a pool, we can just sell the pool and it will sell the Botagon. Perfect! Now more maths time. Assuming we have all the pools pre-placed, it's 6 frames to place and upgrade each tier 5. So 18 frames. Plus 1 for the Paragon upgrade, plus 1 for the ability, plus 1 to sell. 21 frames. How many do we need to get it in again? 9. Fuck. So, how do we get the time down from 21 frames to 9? Well, there's 3 unavoidable frames. Paragon upgrade, ability, and sell. So we need to get the 3 tier 5s upgraded in 6 frames. How? Well, a little known feature about Chinooks is that towers in them, in the air, don't get sacrificed to Paragons. We can use this to move tier 4 boats before the round starts, so that they can land frame perfect, for us to select them and upgrade them, getting us to the 9 frame window. Let's go! So is that free play solved then? Chinooks and tier 4 boats? No. One annoying physics concept blocks us. Matter. You can't have more than one boat in a single place. Trust me, I've tried. Specifically, if we need 47 hooks in order to go infinitely, we'd need 141 tier 4 boats, and 141 Chinooks. I don't think we're fitting that many. We will also be using a Lord of the Abyss, as it allows us to fit more boats more compactly. For this maths, because this isn't going to be the final setup, we'll just do the easy way. Assuming no more slower micro after we've finished microing all the Chinooks. That's even more awkward. We can't fit enough boats to get to around 10,000, let alone infinite. At most, we can fit 33 Chinooks and boat spots. Divided by 3, 11 is certainly less than 23 Paragon abilities. I don't think I needed to do methods just to know that. So, what can we do next? This seems impossible. If we can't use Chinooks, what can we use? Until we remember a key detail. Powered allows for insta-monkeys, which are monkeys that can be placed at any time for no cost. We can use tier 5 boat insta-monkeys. 1 frame for select, 1 for place. Times 3 for the 3 paths, 6 frames. We've got it in 9 frames, let's go! This needs perfect micro though. There's 0 wiggle room, which means that if you fuck up 1 input, that's the round completely fucked. These calculations are assuming TAS though, so we're fine. Except we're not. Kinda. It takes 2 frames to actually click on the insta. This is due to a bug in BTD6, where when it's lagging, you need to click on some things for 2 frames, for it not to register as 2 clicks. So we're up from the needed perfect 9 frames to 12. We're so close. If we assume no bugs, this is perfect. But this is BTD6 we're talking about, so we must continue. So, back to the drawing board. If we don't have enough space to use heli dropping, and normal micro is too slow, what can we do? We can't do multiple inputs per frame, right? Right? Wrong. The final setup for easy powered free play involves what no free player can ever achieve: friends. In co-op, you can have 4 players doing the job of 1 person. Most of the time, this is useless. You don't need 4 people doing 1 person's job. I can throw the game perfectly fine on my own. I don't need 3 other monkeys to do it for me. But in free play, when you need to micro towers insanely fast, it is required to make friends to get as far as possible. So what will the setup be? 3 people placing and upgrading boats to tier 5, then 1 person buying the Paragon, using the ability, and selling it? That's 6 frames per tier 5, with 3 people is 6 frames for all 3 tier 5s. Then 1 frame to upgrade the Paragon, actually 3 frames because it doesn't pause in co-op, 1 for the ability, and 1 to sell the pool. Fuck. We're back with the same problem as before, 11 frames. But wait, you can use tier 5 insta-monkeys. I'd kind of forgotten about that. This reduces the frames to place the tier 5s to 2. 1 to click the insta, 1 to place it. 3 for upgrade, 1 for ability, 1 for sell. 8 frames! We've done it! We can get even more wiggle room by the other 2 people starting to place their tier 5s, while the other person doing the Paragon is upgrading the Paragon and microing it. So that makes it so that the only bottleneck is the 5 frames for Paragon upgrading, and the 2 frames for the person who's microing the Paragon to actually place their tier 5. How many people can we do this with though? We need as few friends as possible. 2? 1 even? With 1 person, you'd both need to be placing the tier 5 boats. Or the other person can place 2 boats while you're microing the other Paragon, then you can place the last one yourself. 7 frames, 2 frames of wiggle room. But wait, the rolls don't need to be static. For ease of understanding, let's use 2 people, P1, P2, one of whom being us. At the start of the round, all tier 5s are placed. P1 starts the Paragon micro, P2 places their tier 5 instas, P2 finishes placing the instas at frame 6. Once P1 has finished their micro, P2 then does the micro themselves. While P2 is microing, P1 will place the instas. There's a single frame of wasted time between them, making the whole process take 6 frames. But wait, with 3 people total, it's even faster, back to the bottleneck previously of 5 frames. We're going to use P1, P2, and P3 this time. P1 starts microing, P2 places 2 boats, P3 places 1, done in 4 frames. They need to wait for P1 to sell their boat, then P2 or P3 can upgrade theirs to Navarch. Having 3 people also solves the previous issue that I just ignored. To micro each Navarch, a portable lake will need to be sold. I think there's enough space to set up at the start of each round, for all of them, but just in case, the person who places 1 boat can replace the pools too. So that's it. 5 frames. That's the optimal way to go infinitely. You only need 1 extra person, but 2 extra helps even more. So now that we've figured out the limit, how much would this reasonably cost? The 3 tier 5s would be free because insta-monkeys, and we're assuming perfect RNG for them. A max cash slider Navarch for instant hook costs 1.94 million money, and sold for 373,000 cash. This means that each rebuy would cost 1.566 million money. If we need to use 47 abilities to go infinitely, that's 73.6 million money per round. How much would this cost in real money? We're going to be using cash drops for this. Each one gives us 2,500 cash, and costs 180 monkey money. We'd need 29,443 cash drops per round, or 5,299,848 monkey money per round. On the web store, you can get 50,000 monkey money and 3 tier 5 insta-monkeys for $76.26 Australian. You'd need to purchase this 105.99 times, so effectively 106 times, for about 8,083 Australian dollars. Assuming perfect RNG though, this would also take care of our insta-monkey problem as I said before, as you'd get 317.99 tier 5 insta-monkeys per round, which is more than enough for us. You'd also need 500 monkey money extra per round because of the mandatory continue for the Legend of the Night ability. So that's 29,443.8012 cash drops, 5.299884 million monkey money, and $8,083 per round. This barely changed. Funnily enough, the continue only adds about 6 cents per round. Now that we've done all that maths, how realistic is this actually? Well, here I'm finally going to tell you the results I got from my testing in practice. There are multiple flaws with this maths. Number 1. FBAD health is stored in a 32-bit integer. That means when it reaches 2.147 billion health, on around close to around 11,000, its health goes to negative and for some reason never returns to positive. Once it hits that point, anything can one-shot the bads. You can store the insides pretty much infinitely, so you don't need carb shenanigans to go infinite technically, but that's boring and relies on a bug. And 2, possibly the weirdest interaction I've ever seen, and I think I'm the first person to find this, the Navarch of the Seas, with the ability that can one-shot any bad, has a damage cap. It can't do any more damage than 1 billion. Any more than that, and it just deals 1 billion damage, and doesn't hook in the bad. If you try and hook it again, it does hook if the bad has less than 1 billion health left, but it freezes for about 30 seconds to a minute for some reason. I ignored this in my maths because I figured it was a bug or an oversight. I've DM'd Rowan, a developer of the game, to ask him if the cap was indeed an oversight, or if it was intentional. He hasn't responded so far. It's almost like he has a game update to worry about. Nah, that'd be crazy. So now you know how to go infinitely in theory. Any billionaires willing to fund this for science, hit me up on Discord. It's a very good investment, trust me. Just so you all know, I've got final end of year, end of school exams coming up in less than 2 months, so I'm not going to be able to upload again until after then. Wait, never mind, you're all used to that by now. If anything, if I make a video after exams, that'd be a shorter gap than I normally have. I am planning on doing a sequel to the AI freeplay video, because that was fun to make, and 2 out of 3 of the AIs I tested have been updated since then, so it would be cool to see which one is best now. I've also got a couple other videos in the works, one of which may or may not be including taking back the primary only world record. Anyway, time to prepare for my English exam. Yay!